Hey everyone, I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince, and welcome to Mustang Prince Orro Reports. You know, I kind of get the feeling that primitive creatures are starting to become popular these days. I'm sure you guys are familiar with the previous two films that I blogged last year that included a primitive creature. For example, there was The Son of Bigfoot, which was a foreign animated film that had a Bigfoot, and of course Smallfoot, which was a Warner Brothers animated musical that included Yetis. However, for today's episode, we're going over to Laika to look into their latest stop-motion film and see what their primitive creature is like. Released on April 12, 2019, the movie is Missing Link. Now let's get started. Tired of living a solitary life in the Pacific Northwest, Mr. Link, who is about 8 feet tall and covered in fur, recruits fearless explorer Sir Lionel Frost to guide him on a journey to find his long-lost relatives in the fabled valley of Shangri-La. Along with adventurer Adelina Fortnight, the trio encounters their fair share of peril as they travel to the far reaches of the world. Through it all, they learn that sometimes one can find a family in the places one least expects. So, what did I personally think of the movie? Well, this was another great Laika film, though not as good as their previous films that they made, like Coraline, Paranorman, The Box Trolls, and Kubo and the Two Strings. But let me explain in my Mustang notes. On April 25th, 2018, it was announced that Laika had begun development on Film 5, a new animated film written and directed by Chris Butler. The film was set to be produced in association with Annapurna Pictures, who had also expected to handle domestic distribution. On May 7, 2018, it was announced that the film had been titled Missing Link. Production was reportedly underway by May 2018, with Laika's artists having constructed over 110 sets with 65 unique locations for the movie. Now that's just awesome. Also, in my opinion, the stop-motion animation is absolutely great, and I think the sets were very creative. However, the story is a little bit familiar to me. I mean, the time period feels like the late 1800s, the time when inventions and discoveries were starting to get really big. Kind of similar to 2004's Around the World in 80 Days. But the things that I like in this movie are the different locations that our main trio traveled to on their adventure, like Washington State, Santa Ana, California, and the Himalayas. Which kind of makes me wonder how many days it must have took for them to get to each location, since airplanes weren't around back then. Also, this movie has a few fight scenes which are all incredible and pretty intense, especially when it comes to stop-motion technology. In fact, sometimes the stop-motion is so smooth that it feels almost CGI. Anyway, that's all I have for Mustang notes, so let's move on to the characters and their voice actors. Our main character, Sir Lionel Frost, is voiced by Hugh Jackman, aka Wolverine from the X-Men films. Plus, he got to be in a few other films like Les Miserables, The Greatest Showman, and Rise of the Guardians. Now, Frost is a self-involved myths and monsters investigator. In my opinion, Frost is a skilled adventurer, but sometimes he can be a bit obsessive and selfish throughout the movie. But at least in the end, he was able to make a friend with a Sasquatch, and of course he gave up on society. Our titular character, Mr. Link, aka Susan, is voiced by Zach Galifianakis, whom I remember from Disney's A Wrinkle in Time, and of course the two recent Muppet movies. Mr. Link is an innocent, gentle Bigfoot creature searching for his relatives. In my opinion, this Sasquatch is a very friendly character, and I find him to be a pretty clever character too, though sometimes he takes things a little too literate. Plus, he has some of the funniest lines ever. Also, judging by his design, Mr. Link kinda reminds me of Monkey from Kubo and the Two Strings. Our next character is Adelina Fortnite, voiced by Gamora/Captain Solano herself, Zoe Saldana, who also got to be in James Cameron's Avatar, The Book of Life, and the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie. Now, Adelina is a fierce yet free-spirited and conscientious adventurer, and she's Frost's former girlfriend. When we first see her in the movie, she seems heartbroken due to her husband's death. But while she joins Frost and Mr. Link, like most characters Zoe breathes life into, she becomes a tough character. Plus, she's also very helpful too. The last character to talk about is Willard Stank, a bloodthirsty bounty hunter voiced by Timothy Olyphant, whom I remember from Rango. This guy is hired by Lord Pigot Dewsby to stop Frost's quest. In my opinion, Stank is shown to be proud of his hunting career, finding sick pleasure in murdering living creatures, even if it's a human, showing a great sense of sadism and recklessness. Other voice actors in this movie include Stephen Fry, Matt Lucas, Amrita Acharya, and Emma Thompson. Now let's move on to my final words. Overall, Missing Link, in my opinion, isn't one of Laika's best movies, but it was still a very thrilling adventure. The story was a tad predictable, but there were some funny moments. Also, a few characters were okay in my opinion, but the voice acting was really spot on, and the stop-motion animation and sets were absolutely amazing. You may not like it as much as Laika's past films, but this may be worth checking out if you're looking for a movie to take your kids to. So, I give this film a 71% out of 100. Now, I hear there's going to be another film with another primitive creature that'll be released later this year. However, there's a high possibility that I may not blog it when it gets released, due to my upcoming European vacation this summer. Well, anyway, that's all for now. Be sure to tune in again next time, where we return to Kingdom Hearts for a very epic showdown between light and darkness. Mustang power!